How's it hanging, YouTube? Peter here, your Ginger Jolly Geek. Welcome to the channel for another top 3. And as ever, I'm joined by my best buds. We've got James C. Keegan. How are you, sir?
Ayo.
Ayo, indeed. Are you well? Are you ready for action?
I'm very well, man. I'm excited to talk some DC highlights. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I think. It's going to be an interesting one. We're also joined by Ben, the attention-seeking geek. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yes, I'm happy to be back on this show. I've missed these little chats, so it's nice for you to have your very own top 3 back on your screen, Peter.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it is. And as ever, we are joined by our favorite American, Efren. How are you, Efren?
What is going on, comic book familia? I'm finally back. I've been doing a little bit of YouTube shorts, on YouTube, but not much as I finished Comic-Con. And I'm glad to be back and see your friendly faces, to be honest with you.
Wow.
So it's been over a week. Miss seeing you guys. It's become part of my routine. I really love being on anybody's channel with you guys. You know, it's always a good
stuff, mate. Good stuff. Yep. And it's always an absolute pleasure to have you here, Efren. As ever, we've got a whole load of stuff to get through tonight. We've got some interesting picks. You guys, as ever, don't know what the picks have been for each other, but we'll get to those in a bit. And as Ben said, it's nice to have the gang back. Our fabulous foursome, as it were. So over the moon to have you all back on screen again. Before we jump to the chat, I just want to kind of quickly jump through some of the stuff that's coming up on the channels and things over the next few days. We'll start off with this. This is a bit of sad news. I'm presuming some of you guys have seen this. I just wanted to touch on it briefly because this chap, well, a bit of an icon, wasn't he? Obviously, Pee Wee Herman. I remember him mainly, really, though, from his role in Batman Returns, which he then kind of followed on with the Gotham show where he played the Penguin's father. Incredible talent and very sad. I think he's been battling cancer for about 7 years, but kind of without kind of telling anybody. Well, obviously, the physicians are not you, but he didn't kind of make it public that I know. Any of you guys a big fan of Paul?
I wasn't too familiar with his work, to be honest. Like, other than, as you say, Batman Returns. Pee Wee Herman obviously is a kind of pop culture icon, but it's I've never seen those films. Are they Tim Burton films? Am I right in saying that?
I think so. Yeah, I think
the original one is. Yeah,
that's wild. I need to now's maybe as good a time as any to pay tribute and watch that film. So very sad.
Yeah. So another great actor kind of lost and left. I'm sad to see. James, you familiar with him or not? I'm not sure if you've.
Yeah, I obviously I remember him from the opening sequence of Batman Returns, and then Gotham as well. Like I loved him in that. I thought he was great. His relationship with Penguin, so that was really cool. Pee Wee, I'm like Ben. I've seen clips. I don't think I've actually sat and watched any of them the whole way through. But he seemed like a great actor and a great presence. So yeah, it's unfortunate to see him go.
I think I'm absolutely same. I don't remember. I remember seeing bits of Pee Wee's Big Top and things like that. But it's kind of the Batman roles that I remember him in. How about you, Efren?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit older when Pee Wee's show came out the first time, and he was a talented but controversial actor, to say the least.
Yeah.
But anytime anybody passes away, it's just a sad moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on then. Just wanted to mention this. We did our Saturday Night Live show on Saturday. Obviously, that's why it's called Saturday Night Live. We did the usual kind of rundown, and we talked about aliens and UFOs and things like that at the end of it, which was really interesting. That must have really sparked people's interest because we've got quite a few views after the show on that one. So I'm presuming it's the alien content. So please do go and check that one out if you haven't seen it. Myself and Ben did this week's comics on Sunday. That was a good jaunt through the good and the bad of the comic book world from last week. Some interesting reads, but some utter rubbish as well, Ben, I think. Ben, if you had to recommend, putting you on the spot, one book for people to read from last week, from the ones you read, which one would it be?
Elvira and Monsterland, baby.
Yeah. Fuzzy messaged today to say he's picked that up. So yeah, superb book, really good read. Tomorrow night, on the channel, I'm interviewing Aaron from Empire Toys. Aaron's a massive action figure collector. I don't know if you guys have seen his channel, but basically he does a whole host of vintage toys, Power Rangers, He-Man, all that kind of stuff. And he's part of a big YouTube group called Empire of Toys. And what's the collective name? I can't remember, but they've got a big YouTube following. So that's going to be interesting. Following that up on Wednesday with Shane on This Is My, so again, talking 1/6 scale action figures. So again, that should be fun. And I've potentially got another one lined up for Thursday. So I'm going to be a busy boy doing that. Just to mention, if you like toys, 1/6 scale news is a show myself and now Ben do. So we're going to alternate, kind of swap the and share the organizational kind of plans for that. So we're doing that quite often. Last one was on Ben's channel, so please do go and check that out. It was a great show, lots and lots of interesting content on that. I've put out a couple of 1/6 scale videos this week. Interestingly, my Boba Fett one's dead in the water, and I'm not quite sure why. So I would have thought the Star Wars content would have jumped on that, but it's got about 30 views or something. So no idea what's going on with that. So please,
I'm one of those 30, so
thank you very much.
I'm not, but I will be.
How dare you? Yeah, so I'm not. It's funny, isn't it? This whole YouTube malarkey, that some stuff hits and others just doesn't. So not sure what's going on with
Not just YouTube, but also social media thing. On Instagram too. It just depends.
And just life in general. Sometimes sometimes you get some, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah. Absolutely, James. Absolutely. Ben, I'm excited about this.
Yeah, well, I'm dusting off the cobwebs of It's Not That Bad, and we're back with a show that's probably been about a year and a half.
As long as I've known you, we've been supposed to do this show. Literally, our entire relationship.
So I've finally given in, and Saturday night we're going to be. James is going to be defending Spider-Man 3. I'm really looking forward to this. Actually, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a really interesting film because it's kind of not. It's not that bad. It's not all bad. It's not all good, and I think there's going to be a lot of discussion points there.
I like the movie. I mean, they brought out Venom. They brought out Sandman. I mean, those are classic characters. But at your show, so I won't say any more about it.
I was going to say it's also not that compelling an argument there, Efren.
It's got this connection. It's almost like that's a problem with it. Is there's so much in it?
Yeah. It's an interesting. Unfortunately, I'm out Saturday night, so I will be catching up on the rewind, unless the show I'm going to see is CAC, in which case I will watch live from the stadium. Yeah. And then, as ever, a quick shout out to all of the UK YouTubers. Please do check out the Nerd Herd, the Killer Comic Book Show, and Grey Man for all of their superb content. Before we jump to the chat, because I've noticed we've got 27 messages there, I'm going to have to quickly get that in a bit. I just want to mention this. So it's Benjamin. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Let's not do that.
Nice.
So it is your birthday, Ben. How old are you, mate?
I am 26 years old.
Bullshit.
I can't believe it.
You're not 20. Neither am I.
Can't believe it. No, look, a gentleman should never ask a lady her age, Peter.
Not a gentleman, you're not a lady. So yeah, but you are getting on in years. But bless, look at that little.
Look at smooth bastard. Look at him.
Look at that. Look. You've got that kind of Crampton look from an early age, there, haven't you? That I don't know how to
smug twat.
Yeah, smarmy. Yeah. Yeah, but no, it's a lovely little shot there. So yeah, nice to see that, and happy birthday, Ben. It is nice to have you on the show on your birthday. Okay, right. Quickly going to jump to the chat because we've got 31 comments. I can't believe it. Gonna have to quickly. Efren, you're getting heckled, mate. You're getting heckled. Get yourself sorted. Get that. Get that haircut. Come on. Nice to see you. Nice. Thank you very much for joining. We've got GP Venom. Thank you very much for joining, bud. GP is going to be doing a show next week, probably just by himself with Simon, where they're going to be reviewing Fathom. Why? I mean, but yeah, I can't fathom
why you would.
Boom! Nice, James. Nice. So that's going to be interesting. And we've got Fuzzy. Many happy returns, Ben. Hope you enjoy another trip around the sun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Your daughter's coming to cut your hair, mate. Your daughter is actually going to come and cut your hair. We've got my pal Deadman. Thank you very much for joining. Deadman, I sent you, I don't think I messaged you or not, but you sent very kindly an act of kindness to Dr. Von Hoot, and he opened it after the show on Saturday. And I can tell you firsthand, he was absolutely chuffed to bits. He loved it, absolutely loved it. So yeah, thank you very much for that, mate. You appreciate it no end. We've got Sean. Thank you very much for joining, Sean. Always appreciate you.
You have to mention it. I was curious now when he go there, and he did. There you go.
Yeah, I remember him getting caught on the adult cinema. Who's he talking about? What's he?
Paul Rubens.
Not me. Before you...
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, is he talking about
during the Pee Wee days? He was caught.
Oh, the Pee Wee. Nobody caught me. We've got Ian there. Nice to see you, my friend. And we've got MJ Comics. Very nice to see you, bud. Just seeing if there's any other GP we've mentioned. We've got Jack. Thank you for joining, Jack. Always a pleasure, my friend. I don't know who he's talking about here, Ben. GP, please don't leave me alone with Simon. Yeah.
I'm getting savage tonight. Can I just say, before we came live on air, Efren, of all people, absolutely destroyed me. So,
Efren, show where you shave. Have you got it to hand?
I have it. If it's okay with Ben, I'll show it.
It doesn't matter about Ben.
Just shut Ben's channel.
Yeah. Go on. Let's.
Yeah. So I get shave, like a shaving cream and razors sent to myself on whenever I run out. And I seen this picture. I'm kind of. Can you see me? Okay, it looks a little bit blurry.
No, you're all right, mate.
Okay. So there's this picture that they send in this box, and I looked at this one picture. The minute I seen it, it reminded me of somebody. Right there.
In his Jedi robes, no doubt.
Yeah, it looks like your celebration.
I don't know. Yeah, so I just thought of you, Ben, when I go, what's he doing there?
Yeah, what's he doing there? Bless him.
This would be like our show that we're going to be doing when we go live when we don't have any topic.
Yeah. We'll just have. Actually, that's a great idea. We can make a segment of that. We can all go and try and find images of Ben to show live on it.
Sounds good.
Can we get on and talk about the subject at hand, please? I'm here for DC, all right?
Let's talk DC. Yeah. So, I don't know what you guys are like, but I didn't realize there was quite as many DC-related movies out there when I started looking for my top picks, and this isn't all of them, but there's quite a number. I don't know why. Were you guys kind of up to speed with all the DC stuff? James, we'll start with you.
I'm pretty sure I've seen every single movie on the screen right now. To my knowledge, I have anyway. No, I've always kind of been caught up with DC. A lot of them, the older ones are classics, and then the rest of them would have come during the kind of my childhood superhero boom kind of phase. So like I'd always be caught up on all of these.
I don't think I've seen Losers. I'm not sure I've seen
Losers is great. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Zoe Saldana. It's a good one. Something in the cinemas, I think. Yeah, it's fun.
Heard of it.
Chris Evans is really good in it as well.
Oh, is he in it?
Yeah.
How about you, Ben? Are you up to speed with DC movies?
There's a couple on there, to be honest, that I've not seen. I didn't even realize were DC, to be honest. The Red franchise, I didn't know that was DC. Road to Perdition, is that?
Yeah.
I had no idea that was a DC property. So yeah,
that's a really good movie as well. Tom Hanks. It's a very, very good one. I like that one a lot. And how about yourself, Efren? I mean, I don't want to be unpleasant, Efren, but you're an older gentleman, so you will have been probably as much like myself there at the start of some of these franchises.
I mean, the original Superman with Christopher Reeves, to me, that was like my first really good introduction to superhero movies. But DC, to me, is always second tier. Sometimes I gloss over them. Some of these movies I never wasn't, except for Batman and Superman, they make a big deal about it. Yeah, I'll be watching those, but everything else is like, oh my God, now.
Yeah. And that kind of brings us on to my next question for you is really, I agree, Efren. I think Marvel, certainly in terms of the movie, is not off rocketed ahead of DC over recent years. But now, obviously, we've got James Gunn taking the helm, which is quite exciting. I'm quite excited about that. I want to know, is there any DC character or DC property that's not being announced that you want to see a film on? What would excite you from the DC universe? We'll start with you again, James. Is there anything in particular that springs to mind?
The Spectre. This character I quite like. I think that's a really cool. You could do a really cool kind of spooky movie with that one. There's even like a lot of the kind of direct to DVD movies have like a little 5-minute short at the start, and some of those like characters they kind of go through more obscure ones, and some of those are great. So yeah, the Spectre or the Question is one I quite like as well.
Jackson,
like noir
you're there
thing.
seeing the Spectre.
Yeah,
I have to say, James, I think a horror Spectre would be phenomenal. There's a superb scene. I don't know if you guys have read it. I think it's in Final Crisis, where the latest iteration of the Spectre, he's a policeman, Cyrus Allen or something, I think, and he's lying on the slab dead, and he's got the kind of he's being opened and then stitched shut, and the Spectre literally he's from the inside, rips open and comes out of his body. It's absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think that would be superb. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a huge connection to the wider DC universe. I think my kind of love for DC is pretty much rooted in and exclusively Batman, to be honest. So there's a ton of Batman characters that we haven't necessarily sort of seen on the big screen, might have seen on the little screen to an extent, but characters like Mad Hatter, I'd love to see a Jarvis Tetch sort of interpretation. I'd love to see Ventriloquist. So there's a couple of characters we've not yet seen sort of fleshed out on the big screen that would be a lot of fun. But I can't think of anything else.
We do tend to the big movies do tend to stick to the same safe villains, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Batman, you're going to get a Joker. Riddler to a point we've had before, Mr. Freeze we've had. Some of the more kind of offbeat characters could make a really interesting movie, I think. And they did very well with Riddler in the Batman.
If you put Professor Pig in the opening sequence for the next Batman film, it would just slot in so well for me. So it's quite exciting that we're going to have that version that you can kind of put the darker characters in. Then I think James Gunn's version is going to be a lot brighter and comic book like. So you can kind of save those zanier characters like Clayface and stuff maybe for that. So
yeah, very much so. How about yourself, Efren?
Thanks for picking me last, but it gave me a couple of seconds to think, about which character. I like Zatanna. I've always liked her character. Yeah. I've been watching the animated series, Teen Titans. I forgot what the name of it is exactly, and she's in it, and her father's in it too. It shows a little bit of them. They're them getting together. As father and daughter. I just like the way she talks backwards. She does her spells. I think it'd be pretty cool. Lighthearted movie, maybe a little bit of mystery to it, but not too much. I think James Gunn would do a good job with this character.
Yeah, she's a great pick. She's been on a couple of DC TV shows. So she first came on Smallville, I think, and she's a great character. So interesting character. Just quickly jump in the chat, guys. Jack is saying the Spectre agrees with James. That would be cool. Deadman is saying Metal Men would be interesting. Yeah, they would be. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those characters. They're pretty interesting characters. Fuzzy's saying Deadman. Yep. So again, an interesting character. Again, you can lean into the horror kind of theme with that. Ian, Elastic Man. Yeah, a bit of a fun character. That could be a bit of a comedy movie, I guess. So is I'm thinking Plastic Man. Which one's Elastic Man again?
I have no idea.
Clues in the title. He's like stretching.
No, yeah, because
there's outfit and
no, that's Plastic Man. Plastic Man's the red one.
I believe if you scroll down a little, he cracks
How many
himself,
stretchy
but...
mothers are in the comics? Like
Plastic Man. That's right, Plastic Man. He means
Man.
Because the other one is Elongated Man, isn't he? He's got similar kind of powers.
You're just making them up at this point.
Jason Todd. Yeah, that would be interesting if he went to. And you mentioned the Red Hood side of things. Yeah, Etrigan the Demon. Yeah, that would be cool. Again, another very good horror one. Got tons of comments. No one wants to see Jason Todd unless he's getting crowbarred in the face.
That's
fair.
Just not true.
Fair enough. A standalone Mr. Freeze. Yeah, I'd love to see. They did a superb animated Mr. Freeze.
See, I
which would
love that,
to see.
but I do think one of the most compelling things is how he goes up against Batman, and Batman sort of knows that he's not all bad. Do you know what I mean? And the kind of conflict there.
Yeah, I do feel, and well, I'm not going to say what I was about to say because we'll talk about it later on. Go Justice League Dark, yeah. GP, Detective Chimp, get lost. No,
Yes.
nobody, no, Ben, no.
Directed by James Gunn. Take my money.
Okay, guys, so we are here tonight to talk about our favourite DC scenes and one worst scene. So as ever, the guys have submitted their views and their choices, but they don't know what everybody else has picked, so it'll be a surprise to them. So we'll start off with Ephraim. Tell them about this scene, Ephraim.
So this is the scene from the Batman movie. Hang on, let me bring it up here again. Sorry. The Dark Knight is directed by Christopher Nolan. And this is the scene with Heath Ledger. He's in Gotham jail. And originally he's being interrogated by the Commissioner Gordon. But that's just like a nice cop talking to him. And then he leaves. And all this time right behind the Joker, you don't see him until he comes out as Batman. And, he comes out, they show him, and the first thing he does is smashes the Joker's head on the table. And, it hurts him, obviously, but at the same time, I think he enjoys it. And then they just go back and forth in a conversation where the Joker's basically telling him, we're the same person. You couldn't exist. I couldn't exist without you. You couldn't exist without me. And it just goes from there. And there's this background music. It's like I forgot, kind of hard to explain the noise that it's making, but just a noise.
It's like a clock tick, isn't it?
It's like that's the whole scene. And
Hans Zimmer, isn't it? The score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's so appropriate for this particular scene. This scene only lasts about 2 to 3 minutes, but just the give and go between Batman and the Joker, and he's trying to break the Joker, and the Joker's enjoying this all. He's in his realm, and he says, me and you, we're joined by the hip, so to speak. So I think it's a great scene.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's the tension in it is incredible. Yes. What do you guys think? Ben, we'll come to you first. What do you think of this scene?
Yeah, stay tuned because there may be some other scenes from this film being featured. James is nodding, so basically I'm now thinking that the whole evening is going to be.
I think so. We all picked one at least,
which I'm absolutely fine with because I honestly think it's one of the greatest, not even comic book films of all time. I think it's one of the greatest films of all time, and I will die on that hill. This was one of those things that, like, I can only imagine the atmosphere of what it must have felt like for crew and people just watching these two actors completely immerse themselves in these completely twisted, dark characters, and the script is just so kind of multi-layered and intelligent, and you kind of get these moments that kind of take you to one plate, like where he shouts and you're not expecting it, almost makes you jump. I love the way he doesn't even flinch, when he like hits his hands, he just kind of like takes it, and just electric, and highlight of the film for sure.
Two masterful performances, really, isn't it? I mean, it's just simply
like scary.
Yeah. James, I know you're a big fan of this movie. What do you think of this scene?
Yeah, it's the unstoppable force and the immovable object. Batman who uses intimidation and kind of brutality against his enemies, and he's against someone who isn't affected by that at all, and it's shocking to him. And just the way, like, he's beating him and Joker's just laughing, like there's nothing you can do. It's really just a movie of incredible sequences, and this is certainly one of the best. Yeah, they're gonna sit down. I just love the way it begins with, like, the lights come on and he's there. It's behind them. It's great.
So you're right, James. It is a movie of superb sequences, and you have touched on it already. It'll be no surprise to hear that a number of you have picked scenes from this movie. Nobody picked the same scene. So what I've done, instead of kind of we're touching Batman throughout the entire thing, most of the choices are going to be in this first round, shall we say. Before we get to that, I just want to jump to Jack. Jack is saying it's all DC movies, it has to be the blown up a hospital scene. absolutely stunning. Am I understand? I mean, you guys correct us if I'm wrong, but I think I think that they didn't go off when it was meant to or something.
It was supposed to, yeah, it was
Improvised.
accidents, and so he just kind of ad-libbed the whole, like, the button's
Yeah.
not working. And
It's
yeah,
so good. So good. Fuzzy, you could have a top 10 purely from this movie. Absolutely, Fuzzy. Completely agree, bud. Well, got Keith, thank you very much for joining, my friend. Fuzzy, the disappearing pencil scene still makes me wince all these years later. Yeah, it's horrible. Okay, so moving on. Great first pick, Efren. Next is Ben's pick. So Ben, the birthday boy. So
What's happening?
Look at that little face, Ben. I mean, the haircut's very cool.
I hope you do this for these fuckers on their birthday.
I'm loving this.
You will never get a photo of me.
Ben, your mother was very helpful. So yeah. Moving on. Ben, your pick.
Weird that you've been messaging my mum.
No, well, via your wife. I've messaged all of the females in your family.
Even weirder now. The opening sequence to the film that we're all sort of celebrating here, and just mesmerizing from the off. You're thrown into this incredibly sort of tense, high stakes situation, but you're not necessarily sure who is involved. I remember when I first watched it, and I thought it's one of these like Bruce Wayne Undercover maybe, and like I genuinely had no idea kind of what the situation was. And then obviously, you sort of realize with the clown mask and stuff who is involved, but then you're questioning because you kind of didn't necessarily realize that the bozo mask was indeed, spoiler warning, going to end up being the Joker himself. And neither did his colleagues there. And just the Hans Zimmer score, as you say, it's that kind of like it just serves as a backdrop, for the whole thing, and everything just feels so like the way it's shot by Christopher Nolan. It's so immersive. You feel like you are on that rooftop. You feel like you are in that vault. You feel like you are in the foyer of the echoey bank sort of chamber. And a great little exchange. I forgot the actor's name, but the sort of bank manager, James
William Fichtner.
There you go. William Fichtner. It's one of those guys that's just like in stuff, but you don't know who he is. But just a fantastic little kind of back and forth, and of course the reveal. It's just it gave me chills and goosebumps when I first saw it. So just as good at opening to an action film, a comic book film as you could possibly get, I think.
I remember, and I don't know if I mean, how long ago was this film out? It's not that long. Really,
2008, so it's 15 years.
Well, it is a few years ago. But I was going to say, I hadn't had spoilers going in to see this film, which is unusual, So, like you, Ben, a bit confusion as to who's who in this scene, and kind of not is it Joker? Is it not Joker? Which ones? Do you know what I mean? I thought it was masterfully done. Either of you guys want to chime in on this one? I think you want to say in this one.
Yeah, I just remember the feeling in the cinema. It was sort of the whole audience. It's almost like this electricity that went through the air for everyone. It's like, oh, this is what this movie is. And it was, I think this is one of the best openings to any movie ever. And just as you kind of puzzle together what's happening, like the first betrayal and then the second betrayal, it's like a tinge of humor to it, almost like. And then it gets to the last one, and he's like, "Where's the other guys?" And he just shoots them. It's
no. I killed the bus driver.
Exactly. It's flawless. Like, absolutely.
Superb. Efren, anything you want to say before we move on?
This is what a great movie is all about. It grabs you from the beginning. This opening scene, just like, oh my God, this is going to be a good movie. We knew the Joker was going to be in it, but I love this opening scene. And I really think if James Gunn watches this video, talk to Christopher Nolan, get his opinion on stuff. I think he should. I mean, Christopher Nolan has done a fantastic job with Batman. And I think if James Gunn, he's doing it his own way, obviously, but if you're wanting to bring somebody on, I would consider it Christopher Nolan.
Can I just say as well, like it's testament to Heath Ledger's acting skills, where he does an incredible kind of body performance in this scene as well, because for a lot of it he's not talking. The way he kind of shoots down without even looking at his colleague or whatever, like, and just the way he sort of embodies the Joker before we've even heard his voice was just,
stunning,
iconic.
So moving on to our next Batman scene. Fuzzy mentioned it earlier.
I love that we've all just picked this. Great.
I think one of the best. I know, like, we have the opening sequence, which is the introduction, but this is the first proper "here's the Joker," and it was just incredible. Like, where he walks in, just the weirdness of it, like the ha ha hoo hee ha. It's just so unsettling, and the magic trick bit was such a shock. Like, this is, a superhero movie, and I hadn't really seen much like violence like that in that way that felt so real as well. It was so horrific. It's just an amazing exchange of just like he's got them by the balls, and the whole like the grenades and everything. It's flawless, and I think this is probably my favorite Joker scene in the movie. Probably my favorite like villain scene in anything. I think
it's horrifying. It's like it is inducing. Do you know what I mean? It's
but it's funny as well. Like, that's the thing a lot of recent Joker portrayals have kind of forgotten, is like he's funny. You're supposed to laugh a bit, like in a weird way. I'm not
sure.
But it's like a shock. You almost laugh a little.
I get it. It's the appeal of the Joker, right? It taps into that part of us that none of us want to admit, but we quite enjoy watching the Joker live this kind of anarchic fantasy that you can never live, because it's awful. But so it's great just to kind of watch it. It's kind of similar thing that like you get when you watch Punisher. It's awful what he's doing, but you kind of enjoy it,
I think one of the superb writing elements of this particular version of the Joker, I loved every time how when he was asked how he got the scars, or he offered that it was a different story or a slightly and I really like that. I thought that's a really interesting take that he's, because it does keep you guessing, I guess, all the way through. Another stunning scene.
Just a genius way of interpreting the comics as well, because for so many years the comics have changed the story. So what Nolan decided to do was like, right, well, I'll condense that into one film, and we'll have multiple stories, and no one really knows the origin. Like, brilliant.
Yeah. Efren, you a fan of this scene?
Yeah, I mean, we could have just picked all of our 3 scenes each on this movie alone. I think we would have covered it. James earlier said that this was a superhero movie, but it's also a villain movie too. I mean, it just shows his point of view too. I think that's what made it such a great movie. Just a lot of superhero movies, a lot of the times, like 3/4 of the movie focuses on the hero of the movie. But this one, was basically evenly split. I think that's what made it such a good movie. And of course, Heath Ledger's excellent acting in this. I heard he stayed in character throughout the whole filming too. So that must have been fun to be around.
One of my favorite moments in the movie is where the guy goes, "You think you can steal from us and just walk away?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's just like, his attitude, like the way he says it. It's
and Jack said in the chat earlier on, what a sad state of affairs that he's not with her anymore, because this is a phenomenal performance, and a lot of the movies he's done were phenomenal. So again, a huge talent lost, sadly. But stays with her with this movie.
Guys, I'm gonna have to buy a fucking in-art figure now, aren't I? After
yeah. You not got one? You not got one? Oh, I've got one.
Nice. We're gonna have some 2-pack, Ben.
Stunning. And
we'll be right back.
The figure is amazing as well. Not rub it in, Ben, but it's stunning. You know what I mean? Okay, guys. Now, obviously, I see all of your selections. I actually had this scene selected, but when James sent it in, I changed my mind. So I have not gone for this movie because we had 3 scenes. But I have
everyone booing.
I've gone for another Batman movie. And for me, it was the start of my obsession with superhero movies, I think. One of the, I think, arguably the best Batman fight scenes I've ever seen. So we've seen Batman in a whole host of different iterations and different, and we'll talk about Keaton in a bit. This, for me, was probably one of the first times that I really thought, Jesus, this guy is phenomenal on screen. Instead of having that quite, how can I describe it? Quite stiff kind of battle technique. you know, the original Batman movie barely moves. You know what I mean? He just flexes his arms a bit. This was direct from a video game for me. This was like straight out of the Arkham games, down to the bits where he's shooting the grapple on people and pulling the heads into the crates and stuff. I just thought it was phenomenal. The best bit of that movie for me, stand out, and probably I think the best Batman fight we've had on screen. Okay, 22 people in the chat. Please do hit the like and subscribe, ladies and gents, and subscribe to all my colleagues on screen. What do you guys think of this particular scene? James,
there's no way. Sorry, I jumped the gun there, but there's no way he didn't kill any of these people.
Oh,
He killed
absolutely.
all of them, I think.
Killed all of them. I think.
He literally blew one up with a gun.
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah, absolutely killed a lot of them. Yeah. I mean, when he slammed, I can't remember what he does, is it the grapple or whatever, and he literally puts the guy down. You see his back bend over his legs or whatever.
Yeah,
you think, yeah, that guy's spine's shattered. You know what I mean? Yeah. Superb.
I was going to pick the scene, and then I was so sure someone else would. I said, okay, I'll have a freebie here. Phenomenal. Like, it's so visceral. Like you said, we've never seen Batman fight like this. And this is how I think it feels like Batman should fight. Just like little things like the way they're shooting the cowl, and they're like, it's just popping off of him. And he's like a train every time he hits, like every impact you feel. Phenomenal. Like, really incredible.
You've reminded us there, James, and there's a bit where the guy stabs him and he kind of just looks at him and you realize he's pissed him off. And it's superb. Ben, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You look at this scene and you're just like, man, we never got this film.
Yeah.
We never got this film.
I know.
I was desperate for this film. Like, I think Ben Affleck really brought a kind of, as you say, like visceral sort of element to Batman that maybe we hadn't sort of experienced fully before. And because of his kind of build as well, you know, he really felt more dangerous, I think, than he's ever felt. And yeah, nothing represents that better than this scene. Yeah, and I absolutely love the scene as well, you know, just where he's talking to Gordon on the gargoyle.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, I want this film, and we never got it. So yeah, awesome. Very good pick.
How about yourself, Efren?
I completely forgot about this scene until you mentioned it. The thing about watching movies, you just forget. And I'm trying to remember this scene. And yeah, I mean, this is an excellent scene. This is Batman in his, you know, where he's supposed to be, beating up the bad guys, hand-to-hand combat, you know, and that's Batman at his best. Yeah, now I got to watch this scene again to remind myself how good it was. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool one. Jack's encouraging to buy a Joker. He says the birthday present to yourself, Ben.
Stop it, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, it would be rude not to. So, okay, that's our first kind of little run through of favorite scenes. We're back to Efren. Efren, you hit no. So I looked at this one as well.
Yeah,
it was one of my picks.
So when Peter sent me a message on Saturday, don't forget to send in your DC picks. I go, DC picks for what? That's how much I was out of it for the last week and a half, you know? And then I started thinking, you know, and I had to put in the original. This is the movie that just made me believe that superheroes could exist. This came out, I believe, in 78 or 79. I was about 20 years old. And just seeing this whole movie just brings back so many memories, you know, and just enjoyment. And this one scene, it's a, you know, classic scene. Everybody who's read a comic book, you know, you see Superman like racing towards a phone booth, which don't exist now, you know. So it's a classic scene. The minute he opens up his chest and it shows the S, I was like, oh, shows his S. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. It's such an excellent scene. Even now, just thinking about it brings back goosebumps. You know, when I first seen it in the movie theater, it's excellent. You know, I love this movie.
I absolutely love this particular scene, Efren, and this is the iconic kind of Superman ripping his shirt open, isn't it? That everybody loves. But I think my favorite part in this is where he goes into the phone booth and he comes out, and the guy on the street says something like, "Damn man, that's some hot guy costume," and he just looks at him, puts his finger up, and goes, "Excuse me," and then just takes off. It's just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I nearly picked this scene as well. Ben and James, are you? I'm going to insult you. Have you seen this movie?
Yes, a very long time ago.
Yeah, I saw it as a kid and was bored then. So.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. Yeah, I wouldn't begrudge anybody who loves these. Obviously, you know, you're in a different place. enjoyed them at the time or soon afterwards. And it's an iconic portrayal, and one of the most iconic pieces of Superman imagery ever. So seeing it on screen, I think, is a really amazing thing.
And
James,
we cannot sit here and deny the fact that if it wasn't for this film, we wouldn't have the MCU. We wouldn't have your Dark Knight. You know, you wouldn't have the Snyderverse or whatever. So, yeah, it was a pioneer, you know, of the genre for sure.
When James said different place, you can just say it. We're old. We seen it the first time. It was a different place. It was a different era. You know, like I said, I was about 20 years old when this freaking movie came out.
Peter gets very touchy about it sometimes. You know, like, just come out and say it.
You know yourself, Efren. You're very confident in your age and stuff, but some guys are, you know, clinging on to their younger years.
I wasn't. This came out in '78, I believe.
Yeah,
I was 1 year old. So
but you're alive though, aren't you?
Yeah, I was alive. Yes, I was alive. You bastard. So yeah.
Now you're making me feel older now. So
okay, brilliant scene, everyone. I love it. Next one. Ben,
why?
That's it.
You know the funniest thing, right? This photo on the left was like a photo booth, you know, passport
that looks
photo
like a crime scene kind
of
like a mugshot.
This is the thing, right? I've never looked more like a sex offender in my life, and yet this photo was used as my DBS check in Australia to work with children. Yeah.
Wow.
You wouldn't have let me, would you?
No.
Yeah.
You're getting some grief, Ben. Says the man who just told us he was 26. Touchy about age. Yeah. Well caught, Fuzzy. Well caught.
Okay, 27.
Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah. Dead man who's 21. He feels old now. Mugshot and a half. Yeah. Wow. Moving on. Ben, what?
Such a bastard. Thanks. What do you mean, Howie? It's no secret, my love, for the Suicide Squad movie, and I think the whole film, the tone, the sort of the type of humor, the kind of the action and everything is personified in this opening sequence, really, and it's of course the sort of infamous beach scene where essentially a whole team of, you know, the Suicide Squads are basically killed. They're dispatched. You know, they serve their purpose as the Suicide Squad, and it's just a joy to witness. And one of the joys of witnessing it is that a lot of the people are bad people anyway, so it's kind of like they you know, they deserve it. So again, that kind of sick thing that you kind of relish watching it, and you know, like, it's just so balls to the wall weird. You know, I mean, here's Nathan Fillion as Arm Fall Off Boy, who, by the way, is not canon now because of it. Obviously, he's been recast, and that for me is an absolute travesty. And you get Mongal, you know, and no real explanation as to who the fuck these weird people are or like why they are how they are. Of course, we get Weasel, who, you know, doesn't kind of take part in the end, but is there. It's just so funny as well. Like, it uses violence as slapstick, and that's something I always love. Ultra violence, but like as a comedic tool sort of thing. Harley Quinn's amazing in this scene. Like, she kind of finally got one of my favorite outfits I think she's worn in any of the films, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, I'm still a little bit sore about Captain Boomerang though, because I
favorite in the first one,
yeah. But at the same time, it was a great tool to show us that anyone could die at any point in these films, so don't get attached, sort of thing. And that was genius in the end.
And I mean, and for me, I read some of the Suicide Squad, particularly. I can't remember who wrote it, but the reboot kind of late 90s, early
Scott
2000s.
Williams.
Yeah, might have been, but it was very much every issue a main character would die, and that was probably my moan from the first film. Well, this doesn't feel like the Suicide Squad because really, you know, some of them should have been. So this opening scene, I remember watching this. I went obviously with my family, with Thomas and Jessica, and Thomas was blown away by this. Kind of, what the hell is happening? Because the promos for this movie kind of led you to believe that these were the main, or some of the main characters in it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought great opening. Gentlemen, anybody want to comment on this one?
I think you've said all of it. Like it corrects that issue with that first movie of like the one character who's not barely in any of the trailers died, which is Slipknot. But this one, yeah, for me, I having watched all the trailers, like I sort of felt this coming because this character is never with this group or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from it. Like I think it's incredible the shock value of it.
Yeah.
Such a great cast of actors in here as well. Pete Davidson and having Jai Courtney back and everything and yeah, just the way it all goes shit ways immediately is I think the funniest aspect. Like nobody checked he could swim, you know, like it's such a great oversight that I feel like could actually happen, you know. So yeah, it's brilliant, I think.
And we get Star of the Conqueror in this film, you know. I never in my days did I think we would get a Star of the friggin' Conqueror, you know, on TV or in a movie, you know. Efren, you fan of this scene?
Yeah, now that, you know, Ben brought it up again, I remember this scene. Like, it just took me completely by surprise that they killed off so many characters in this scene, you know. So, but yeah, you know, I remembered it slightly. So now there's another scene that I have to watch again. So I want to comment on it when we do live again.
Good stuff. James, the Superman pick.
Yeah, this is the moment that made me love Henry Cavill as Superman. I think this is one of the best sequences in any superhero movie. It's Superman's first flight. Just everything, like the voiceover from Russell Crowe about like how, or you know, they might not love you at first, but they'll join you in the sun. It's so inspiring.
Yeah.
The visuals of it, like this was the first time you really see Superman fly, like with what you can do with visual effects today, and I think it looks flawless. The music as well, Hans Zimmer, I think some of his best work in this movie, and the Superman theme is perfect. I get goosebumps every time I watch this sequence. I think it's really underrated and a very underrated movie.
Yeah, good for you, James. I completely concur. And I think this scene for me, look at Ben's little face. This scene for me gave us something that I hadn't seen in Superman movies before. I love that idea of when he kneels down and when he starts to take flight, you see the particles kind of swirling up around his hand and stuff. I love that. I think that's a great kind of visual effect. Ben, you're a huge Superman fan. This float your boat?
I'm not, if you're wondering. It did though, you know. Like you can't argue, as you say, with the kind of Hans Zimmer score, with, as you say, the sort of particles effect, the way the scene just kind of takes its time. I think for me in superhero films and stuff, like powers and stuff are so very, like, so often they're just kind of switched on and it's a blink and you miss sort of thing, and it's like there's no transit, there's no like, I love seeing things manifest slowly, you know, for the first time. And that's one of the things I loved about the original first two, like, X-Men films, like how much they kind of concentrated on the power of Pyro, the power of Nightcrawler, and they really took their time to kind of see the power sort of manifest. And this is the ultimate kind of example of that. And yeah, like as James says, I think the effects, even if the effects aren't good, I think the way Snyder kind of shoots everything with this like haze, and it's aged well. You know, it still looks good to this day, I think.
Yeah, very cool. Efren, before we move on, anything from you on this one?
This is what happens when special effects is done right, the right way. If they put a lot of money into special effects, from the particles from the ground shaking, just when he's about, you could feel all the power that he's generating. And then when he flies off, I go, oh my God, this looks so freaking real. Yeah. You know, this is what I love about scenes like that. So like I said, once they put a lot of money into a scene, you know, special effects, this is proof positive that it works if you do it right.
Yeah. And we're going to touch on special effects a little bit later on, but you're absolutely right. This is good use of SFX. I love it. This for me is from the original Batman. Don't give that little smirk, Ben.
No, this, I mean, I was laughing because you can hear this image.
Well, yeah, so that's exactly. So this for me, I remember going to see Batman 89, and I think it was a 12. It was the first time they'd given a 12 rating, and I was cock-a-hoop because it came out on my birthday, so I was able to go and see this. And Batman, up till this point, in terms of TV and stuff, had been the Batman 66 kind of version, which kind of, in some ways, humiliated the character. And then we've got this. It's dark and gritty and all the rest of it. And this scene, which you know it's popular because that's exactly what you guys have just said. You can hear it. But also it's been replicated in so many Batman movies going forward. Even the most recent one does its twist in it. You know, instead of saying I'm Batman, it's I'm Vengeance. But you're right. You can just hear the kind of the Michael Keaton voice there. I love it. I just love everything about it. And it was at this point in the movie, I think, where I just thought, yeah, this is going to be superb. This is what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see bright and colourful. I wanted to see gritty, dark Batman scaring the shit out of people. So yeah, love this scene. Love it. Anybody want to comment on this one?
It's dark, but it's super stylized. You know, it's such a noir sort of vibe in that first sort of Batman '89 film, and I think it kind of leans more into the Tim Burton aesthetic in Batman Returns, but this very much feels like a sort of noir, you know, story, and it's just so. I mean, this was my entry into not even Batman comic books and the culture as a whole. So it'll forever kind of be ingrained in my head, really. So yeah, amazing. It's
funny. I was doing a short video today, which is going out later on tonight, and I used some clips from Joker and Batman. And this is a movie I've probably not watched, to be fair, for 10 years. And I completely forgot just how amazing Jack Nicholson in particular is in this film. It's incredible. A stunning performance, absolutely stunning. So I'm going to go back and watch it when I'm on holiday this week because I feel I need to revisit Batman.
I can't believe you've not seen it for 10 years. Come on now.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it. I've seen bits of it, but I haven't sat down and rewatched it.
It's one of the things I have to see once a year at least, just to top up.
Anybody else want to comment before we move on from this one?
When this movie before this movie came out, there was such a backlash for having Michael Keaton as Batman. He was a stand-up comedian. I used to see him in San Francisco stand-up show.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then it's just a classic scene. And this is Batman. I think moving forward, everybody looks at this Batman as a point of origin, like inspiration. It's just a classic character, in the movie.
That's, what, Efren, that's a really good point, because as nerds, we're a bunch of pricks, really, aren't we? Because you're right. Michael Keaton got hell for this. Yeah. But then look at Robert Pattinson. I'm not a massive fan of that performance, but again, there was such backlash and mourning. It's the bloke from what do you call it? Twilight and all that, but leading up to the character. We're never happy, are we? We always have a bit whinge about stuff before it comes out.
Or after it comes out, in your case.
Yeah, very true, very true. Fuzzy, he's saying he seemed to watch Batman Returns more. Yeah, again.
Yeah, that's my favourite one over
Batman Returns, I have to say, as much as I love, and I do love Jack Nicholson in this first one, I think Danny DeVito, that's the performance of his career. I think his Penguin, again, for a comedian, his Penguin is horrific, but quite lovable. Do you know what I mean? It's stunning. It's stunning. Okay, anything else before we move on?
I love how I believe the line was supposed to be "I'm vengeance" or like "I'm the night" or something, and he just said, "Can I just say like I'm Batman?" And they were like, "Okay, try it." And here we go. One of the most iconic moments ever.
One of the greatest YouTube videos of all time, in my humble opinion, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, is in America they tend to do this. I don't think we do it over here, but they tend to do these things where they get big famous people to come and do kind of the graduation speeches at big universities. And Michael Keaton, have you seen the Michael Keaton one?
Yeah.
Where he's delivering the kind of the ending address. And he says, and if there's one bit of advice I can give you, or one thing I need to say to you before I leave, and he just leans in and says, "I'm Batman." It's just the crowd goes.
He was even like saying it to Tom Holland all the time on the as Vulture on the Spider-Man set. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, superb. Fuzzy's just saying there, DeVito is tremendous with his little waddle. Yeah, he is. He's phenomenal. I think I've ordered a hot toy of that. Have I ordered a hot toy of that? Not a hot toy.
Not a hot toy, but third party
one.
Did you order?
We're still waiting on the Mars Toys one.
Yeah, I thought you were waiting to see.
No, I decided I didn't want to miss it because it's that good. Even though it was a bit of an old company and the Mars Toys one's coming, I ordered it, and if I end up getting two, I'll give one.
The Mars Toys one's apparently coming with the duck boat That's what I've heard.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, right?
God. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Wah, wah, wah.
Efren, back to you, my friend.
Okay, so this is the Wonder Woman movie that came out in 2017, and I'm not talking. Now we're talking about scenes, not the whole movie, but this scene brought so many memories back to me because this is, to me,
Of the
it's an
1920s?
homage, huh?
Of
The
the
what?
1920s.
Yeah. So this is an homage to the original Superman movie where Clark Kent saved Lois Lane. He caught the bullet.
Catches the bullet.
This is, Wonder Woman's take on her saving, I believe it was Steve. So that's why I picked this scene. It just brought back a lot of memories when I first saw it. So.
I like that first Wonder Woman movie. I don't think it's as good as people make out.
Great film.
No, I think it's fantastic, really.
But I think there's some great. The bit on kind of no man's land where she's walking across the battlefield is just amazing. So yeah, a great pick, and I do love that little scene, Efren, and it is a nice little call back to Superman. But yeah,
one thing really quick that I did not like about this movie, and it still bugs me to this day, is when every single fight that Wonder Woman was in, there was not a scratch on her. It's like she was a model throughout the whole film. I mean, that's not reality. You go to an Avengers movie, you see blood and beat up dirt, and that's the one thing I did not like about this movie. Bugs me even now.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I do like this movie, but I think it kind of, for me personally, I could have done without the big CGI baddie at the end kind of thing.
So
second movie's dreadful. I mean, the second movie is just awful.
Controversial opinion. I think that movie's all right. Like, I enjoyed it.
It's not controversial. It's just wrong. Like, come on, man.
I know there's the whole like, if she sleeps with him, even though it's someone else's body thing. That's a bit like,
yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Absolutely fuzzy. Agree with that. Okay, moving up, we've got Shap. Nice to see you, Shap. Thanks for joining, bud. Birthday boy, your pick next. That's a nice one. I like that one, Ben. That's a cute little fit. You've got this weird hair thing going on, mind, with your.
That's my ice cream face. I look like Gok Wan.
I can't unsee that now. I can't unsee that.
Yeah, come on, get it off the screen.
I like that one. Fuzzy's just Efren Wonder Woman. That's not reality. Brilliant.
I didn't want to say.
Yeah, it is a nice that one, Ben. I like that one. Look at that little smile. Lush.
Cute, bloody
Ben.
baby. What happened? Yes. So this is representing the. I love how my face is replaced. My cartoon face is just replaced. So this is the opening sequence of the Watchmen film.
Yeah.
Now
the montage.
Yes. So you got Bob Dylan's Times Are Changing playing over the top, and it's essentially a sequence of ultra slow-mo kind of photographic moments of kind of documenting like this reality's kind of history of sort of superheroes. So I'll quickly go through the list. So you get Silk Spectre holding a newspaper. You get the comedian capturing an armed robber. You obviously get this Minutemen team picture. You get Miss Jupiter's sort of Muriel on the side of the atomic bomb being dropped. You get Silhouette kissing the nurse instead of the sailor. You get Dollar Bill with his cape caught in the thing after being shot. You then get this lovely kind of almost like a Renaissance painting of Silk Spectre pregnant, and the Minutemen and stuff are all together. You get Mothman being arrested for or being taken to like a mental sort of asylum. Silhouette, you get a murder scene of her, and then of course you get some of the Watchmen stuff coming in. So you see Rorschach as a young kid as his mum is being sort of abused in the background. Dr. Manhattan shaking hands with John F. Kennedy, the comedian shooting John F. Kennedy. Rorschach's calling card. You get the Peace March, with the flower and the gun. I'm nearly done, don't worry. Night Owl and Andy Warhol. You get Dr. Manhattan on space, Ozymandias, shot of the full Watchmen. and then I think the final shot is like Vigilantes Outlawed or something written on a thing. So it's just such it just sets the scene so well. And like for me, the Watchmen books are my Bible. That's my Bible, that Watchmen book. Like it's kind of the Bible to my culture of like superheroes and everything that I love. Like and there's so much in there in terms of the newspaper clippings, magazine clippings, you know, between every chapter you would get these long extracts of books and stuff like that. And what this kind of opening sequence does is it fills a lot of those gaps just in a shot, you know, and it does it in such a kind of surreal you know, atmospheric way, and the music just works so well. And yeah, just I love, like, honestly, this is one of my favorite costume designs. I might have it in here actually. Like I'll get it out in a minute, but the costume designs in this film I think are some of the best in superhero history. So yeah, that's why I picked this.
I remember, I can't remember what date this came out, but I remember I think I've told you guys before, me and two pals go to all the superhero movies. And up till this, I think the movies would seem were pretty mainstream in terms of characters they recognised, Batman, Superman, that kind of stuff. And then I took them to see this, and it just blew them away because it was such an adult superhero story. And I remember
the shots of the costumes and stuff like that.
Absolutely amazing.
Really,
I remember my mate Doug turning to us during the montage at the start and kind of saying, what's this was saying? Because it was so like the shooting of Kennedy and all that kind of stuff. This is a movie I think doesn't get enough praise for how accurate it is to the comic, apart from the end a little bit, but how accurate it is to the comic. I think it's phenomenal. And there's that scene for me where Dr. Manhattan's walking through the fields in Nam and just kind of glancingly pointing at people, and they're just it's just amazing. I love it.
And all of the things that we enjoy now, things like Invincible, things like The Boys, things like Kick-Ass, this started all of that idea of like, let's plant superheroes in a reality of sorts, and how would that affect the world, and how would these people be perceived and stuff like that. And it's honestly, I mean Alan Moore is just the second coming as far as I'm concerned.
Amazing. Yeah, we talked about it on a Saturday show a little while ago. I think Fuzzy was the one that brought it up, but I would also recommend people go and check out the Watchmen TV series, because that as well was very, very good. Very, very cool program. Yeah. Okay, chaps, any of you guys want to comment on this before we move on?
It was love at first sight for me. Just the way it conveys so much so effectively and in such a stylistic way. I love that it's sort of like this idyllic time, and then the kind of real world issues take over, and you start seeing like people being persecuted and that kind of stuff. I thought that was great. Little Easter eggs in here as well. The way one of it's Night Owl saving the Waynes coming out of Zorro. I think that's like little things like that I thought are great as well. And yeah, incredibly underrated movie. This is one of my favorites. I love this one.
Again, you Ben mentioned, I think a couple of you mentioned earlier on about that iconic "I'm Batman" line. Some lines from this movie stick with me, all the way through. Like Rorschach when he's telling the prison guards, you're not locked up in here with me, kind of. That stuff and the. It's just amazing.
It's one of my favorite comic book movie performances is Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach. Like, it's
incredible.
It's sensational. I saw the other day someone saying about him as Mad Hatter, and I was like, oh my God, yes, please. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
He's tiny as well, so
good stuff. Efren, you a fan of this one?
I could say that I loved it. There's one of the best movies around. I've never seen it.
What?
No, guys, I've never seen it.
No, log off.
Okay.
Yeah. Just go now, Efren. Go now. I'll send you the remaining pictures of Ben. Don't worry. So you log off.
Hey, we keep it honest here on Peter's channel. We don't laugh about it. Oh, I love it. Great. No, I haven't seen them. You know what? I'm gonna watch it. Then I'm gonna do
it. It is one of the best. Seriously, Efren, it is worth watching this one. It's hard hitting, mind. Have you read the book, Efren? Have you read Rock? You never read Watchmen?
What? I've never read it. I have the books. I almost off all of them. I just bought them when it came out, but I just never got around to reading them.
I
Okay,
thought for kind of like
read the book first.
Okay.
Read the book
Right.
first.
I will.
I want to watch you read the book because when I read the book, a holy light came out of the book. As I was reading it, it was
So
like,
I have an idea. When GP does this show next Tuesday, only
Ooh, yeah.
we'll do our own the same time with the Watchmen. No, just-
JP, if you're watching, sack off that shite that Simon wants you to
Watchmen.
read. Let's do Watchmen, please,
Yeah,
for the
I'll
love of
read it.
God. Let's do Watchmen.
hi Simon, thanks for
Yeah, hi
watching.
Simon. Hi Simon. Yeah. Okay, James. This is an interesting pick.
Nice.
I get so emotional watching this scene, and yeah, I think it's such a shame what happened to Ray Fisher, like with that original cut of the movie, and how he got so sidelined. And I think this is like one of the best superhero performances. This scene in particular, it just tells you so much about him, and you know, it's kind of he's accepting of himself, and like I just found it really, really touching, and the way he says like, "I'm not broken and I'm not alone." It's great. It's like the mother box is trying to trick him, and he sees through it. And yeah, just incredible. I love this movie so much, and I love this performance so much. And this scene, I think, is the best in the movie.
It's certainly the Snyder cut brings so much more of this character in particular. I mean, of most of the characters, but it completely changes his arc, I think, and his storyline, to the point where in the first movie I didn't care for Cyborg at all. Couldn't give a rat's. But this one, yeah, big fan.
I'm exactly the same, Peter. The Snyder cut is Cyborg's film as far as I'm concerned. Like, yeah, superb.
Efren, you've seen this one?
Oh yes, I've seen this, and this, this is a great scene, and I love, once again, when you do, special effects or whatever this is that he's on, wardrobe, it shows you when you do a good job, it looks so real, and you felt for this man, throughout this film, so yeah, it's a great choice, James. Love it.
So you're right, you felt for him, and I kind of feel that by the time this came out, this guy had been through the ringer in terms of Twitter and all the kind of stuff with and it kind of vindicated him in a lot of ways, or it certainly reinforced, actually, do you know what, this guy had a hell of a good point during all of that mudslinging and shit, because actually he was screwed over. Do you know what I mean? Big style on that.
Absolutely, yeah.
First
I'm happy at least he's like Snyder's having him in his newest one, so I'm happy to see his career is continuing. I love seeing him and things, so see more of him.
Yeah.
Okay, right. 19 people watching. Please do hit that like, subscribe, bell notification, and please do make sure you go and check out James T. Keegan's channel, the Attention Seeking Geeks channel, and Past Point Comics, and give them a subscribe. Right, guys, I went a little bit left field with my next choice. I could have gone safe and picked another Batman Superman one, but this scene in particular for me hits an emotional chord, I think, and that's V for Vendetta.
Nice.
It's again another Alan Moore movie. The entire film is phenomenal. I remember reading this first and then watching the film, and from a political standpoint and ethics and all those kind of equality, diversity, it really kind of hits a resonance with us. But this end scene where he's kind of facing off in the sewers and the guys shoot the hell out of him, and he should, but because he's not got any special powers other than he's being burnt to a crisp and he's got no nerve endings and stuff, but the kind of say to him, "Why aren't you dying?" He gives that little quote about, behind the mask there's an idea, and ideas are bulletproof. That for me is just one of the best lines Alan Moore's ever written, I think. So yeah, a stunning movie, some great action scenes in it, and some stunning performances. But this end scene for me was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Efren, have you seen this one?
I have seen this movie before. It started with Natalie Portman, correct?
Yeah, Natalie Portman's in it. Yeah, Hugo Weaving.
It's a long time ago. I don't remember anything about this movie anymore. So
it's worth a watch. I think it is, particularly in light of the current politics and all the rest of it in the world. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, I was going to say it's uncomfortably relevant at the moment. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this film. Big fan of Alan Moore, to be honest, and it's such a shame that he's kind of taken this stance against any kind of movies and interpretations of his work, because I think this is a this is a great telling of that story, to be honest. So yeah, sorry, that's my Spider-Verse ringtone there.
Very cool. Very cool.
You know, I was moaning about my sister calling me. I'll tell her I'm on a live stream. I'm on a live stream.
Hi, Ben's sister.
Hi.
We're on the internet. We've got 280 people watching. You're on the internet. Go to the next person.
James, what about you, mate?
It's been a long time since I've watched this movie, but yeah, I love it, and yeah, it's so many great lines, and I think this is certainly one of the best and conveys the kind of message of the movie. Well, I don't know about you. I assume you've read the comic.
Yeah.
I've always interpreted it in the comic that V is multiple different people, but in the movie, it's just one guy.
No, so I've always thought the main character of V was one character, but it's kind of the whole point of it is that V can be everybody. And that's at the end where they're all wearing the masks and kind of stuff.
Because like there's no voice in the comic, so it could be multiple. It could be women and men or whatever, and you don't know.
I love it. I love it. Okay, right. Moving on to talk about our worst scenes from DC.
He's not here for the. There we go. Back for the picture.
There he is. There he is. So we're gonna touch on some of what we think are the worst scenes in DC movies, and we'll start off with Ephraim's pick.
Guys, this almost ruined superhero movies. You know, back in the day, you know, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, and it's not just one scene; it's basically the whole movie. I think it's just bad. You know, just his accent, it was the way his costume was, you know, like I think it was a tip at the top of his head. I was like, oh my God, who thought of this? You know, and the nipple suits, you know, for Batman and Robin. And even George Clooney admits that this is the worst movie, you know, he's ever made, basically. And it almost ruined the superhero genre, you know. It just took a really bad turn. And so, like I said, it's not just one scene, you know, it's the whole movie with Arnold in it and everybody else that was in it. You know, I think it's just terrible, you know.
Hi, Phil. Shit. Just shit.
I love how he just smokes normal cigars. I think that's just huge hot smoke going into him.
I mean, is anybody going to disagree with Ephraim? Ben, you strike us as the guy who kind of might like more of this. No,
because there's a difference between like paying tribute, but adding a comedic element and absolutely shitting on the legacy of a character, and this falls under the latter. Just like this nearly set back comic book films like 20 years from where they got to, because we talk about, Christopher Reeve's Superman, we talk about the Tim Burton Batman films, and then this just like rewound the clock. Like it was just bizarre. Just and not charming. There's nothing charming about this. Like there's nothing. Even I was probably prime sort of age to be the target audience for this. I was probably about 12, 13 when this came out. But I fucking hated it then as well. Like, just the worst.
Yeah. GP's just commenting here. Bane absolutely was kind of the big character in the comics at the time, and my God, did they screw him over? I mean, it was just horrendous. James, anything to add on this before we move on?
It's dog shit. Get it out of my sight.
Frosted dog shit.
Frosted dog shit. Okay, birthday boy. That's a nice one. I like that one.
This outfit got me in trouble with.
That's a nice outfit. You look
literally our only religious friend down at the bottom there, and you put a picture of me as Virgin Mary on.
Yeah. And is this where the cross dressing started, Ben, or what?
This lipstick is my third time, I think.
Ruby red Superman
by this point, so I was in the midst of it at this stage. Yeah,
very nice. Speaking of babies, shit.
My baby looked better than this. That was in my hand there.
It did. God,
it's like nightmare fuel, isn't it? Just look at the more you look at it, the worse it gets.
Talk about this, and they put this image, and they put the dancing baby from Ally McBeal. And I swear to God, the dancing baby looks better than this. Go on.
Shout out to Reviews with Rich, who I think is planning to do this show Tuesday. I said I might hop on for it because I recently rewatched this just to kind of think, right, you know what, was I being too harsh the first time round? I'll have a second viewing and see if I'll be a little bit fairer. And it was just as bad. And this is like a prime example of like I think they were trying to recapture, you know, that Suicide Squad beach scene kind of silliness, shock kind of value, and it just doesn't come across half as interesting. Visually, it just looks like such a mess. The CG is absolutely horrendous, and to be quite honest, the idea is horrible. Like it's quite uncomfortable when you watch it. Like there's nothing. I know they were kind of going for like a dark humor with the knives going for the baby and the acid going for the baby, but like I was like, this isn't nice. This isn't funny. Like this is actually like just a nasty kind of idea, you know, and just a nasty guy dressed in red saving them all as well. The irony, but just not good. Not good stuff.
This I think was the point for me. I'd gone into this movie really, really trying to get my brain into just relax and try and enjoy it. I know you hate Ezra. Try and enjoy the movie. Do you know what I mean? And then the start was okay, and then we got to this, and I just thought, my God, this is awful, absolutely awful. Anybody else on screen think this was great? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, James.
I do actually. I love this scene. Listen, I think that for me the problems end with the CG babies. Like they look terrible. I'm not even gonna try and say they don't. They do. I just think it's really fun. I think it's like the shock humor worked for me. I thought it was good. Like putting the baby in the microwave and things was funny. When he goes and like with the dog and everything. Yeah, it was just kind of goofy humor, fun sequence. I liked it, unironically.
Efren, did you like this?
I first seen this movie as a sneak preview, and either the directors or the producers came out and they said this is not a finished product. So when I first seen these babies, I go, oh my God, this scene is terrible. They don't even look real. It's so bad. This is what bad, special effects looks like, basically. And then I'd seen it again when the movie came out. It was basically this exact same scene. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrible, and I just him. It took like a matter of seconds. They show him thinking what he's going to do, and it all happened in seconds, but just the babies look so fake to me. I think that's what ruined it for me.
Yeah.
You know what, as well, like rewatching it, like it's like the Flash doesn't care. Like, do you know what I mean? Like in the way
he's really hungry though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. He just comes across like a selfish twat, like rather than a hero. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing heroic about him in that moment. Like it's
you can argue the same for Quicksilver in those sequences where he doesn't look like he really gives a shit. He's so blasé about it.
Yeah, but the special effects are great in that scene. The Quicksilver scene.
Quicksilver. Don't you dare come for Quicksilver.
I'm not coming for anybody, man. I'm sticking up for my boy.
I think what ruined this movie that he was so inept throughout the whole movie. They made him look like an inept character, except towards the end, the fight scene when he knew what he was doing, But his whole character, even from Justice League, a goofy person who's not sure of himself, which I didn't like at all. In the comic books, it's nothing like that.
Yeah. Ben, I'm looking at the image button. I'm thinking, if you ever wanted to spruce up your logo to like a more modern 3D version, that little baby head there
slots right in perfectly, doesn't it?
Just some scalpels around my name.
Yeah,
there you go.
Looks nice. James, dear God.
Yeah, forgot this existed, didn't you? Just horrendous. Like, sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, what were they thinking putting this in here? Like, there's no reason. It doesn't service the story. It's not fun. I don't understand why it's even in the movie at all. Like this weird, she's just dribbling. Like I suppose it's to showcase her powers, but like it's just the the bench like seesaw fight from Daredevil, just worse and more boring.
Phil has not seen this. Phil, this is a superb movie, mate. You need to rush out and watch it. This is the Halle Berry Catwoman movie from a few years back. It's a cinematic masterpiece.
Cack. That's what I say.
I think, Fuzzy, if you're still in the chat, mate, if ever there was a time for a pure mince comment, this is probably it. Just awful, awful, awful movie from start to finish. And this scene is just dire, absolutely dire. Halle Berry, man. Do you know what I mean? Just a superb.
She just won an Oscar. Like, she won an Oscar while filming this, you know?
Got to make money, but, you know,
Fair play to her. She took it in good fun as well, because I think she got multiple Razzas or whatever you call them. Razzies,
she actually went to the Razzie
with her Oscar in her hand. Yeah. But you know what, though? I think in the right movie, she'd make a fantastic Catwoman. This is just a terrible movie, you know, with a terrible costume design and badly directed and just shite.
She's got like legit powers, isn't she? In that film?
Yeah.
Like,
She got cat powers. Yeah.
Fucking no.
Like
she licks her hand and shit.
around and not the best. Not the best. Okay, guys, my pick. I decided to keep it in, even when I saw Ephraim's pick, because it predates his slightly, and this was the loss of innocence for me. So this is I absolutely loved Batman and Batman Returns, and then we get Batman Forever, and this is Val Kilmer's version of Batman. The opening scene is Tommy Lee Jones and some goons, and I'm sat in the cinema on the back of the last two Batman films, dark, gritty, thinking, oh, you know. And Batman comes out the elevator and shoots them with some kind of electricity gun, and they do this kind of weird with shock and effects around them. And I thought, ooh, this isn't the Batman that I liked. And then we get this. This is the guard in the safe who's got the most irritating voice I've ever heard. And he's screaming, what is it?
It's filling with boiling acid.
Boiling acid! And it's like, what the holy fuck am I watching here? It's boiling acid, Batman! And it
Save me, Batman!
Yeah, at that point, I thought, oh my God, what's happening?
You wouldn't have saved him, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I would have pushed him face first, innit? Yeah, and it was just that horrible realization that, you know what, we had Batman 66, which turned Batman into a kind of a comic joke character. Enjoyable, but not Batman. And then we had two stunning Batman movies, which were like proper adult movies. And then all of a sudden, Joe Schumacher knocked her right back into camp, ridiculous, over the top. And I hated it. I hated it every second of it. So yeah, that's my shit scene.
Because ultimately, like, 66 was accurate to what Batman was at the time, right?
Yeah, because
it was before the kind of Neil Adams, you know, Dark Detective sort of reinvention of Batman. So yeah, it was just like, why take us back? Why take us back?
Because I think that's what he grew up with. So that's how he liked Batman. But then again, he also wanted at some point to do a year one adaptation. So he likes that version too. So I don't know, it's weird.
Just awful. Ephraim, you remember this scene?
No, I do not, and I'm kind of glad I don't. Just hearing James's voice, you know, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to see this now. So, you know, I'm scared of scary movies, and this scared the crap out of me when he made that voice, you know. So.
Tommy Lee Jones's like Two-Face is just so, he just hadn't got the character whatsoever. Like, you know, whether that was direction or his kind of choices, I'm not sure. But like, and especially because we got such a calm, cool, collected Billy D. Williams version of Harvey Dent, you know, it was like to go from that to this kind of like, he's more like the Joker than the Joker is in some stuff. Like,
it was just a very strange direction. Phil, Chris O'Donnell, I think, was the guy who played Robin. I don't think he did much after that, did he? He kind of disappeared a little bit.
He did those CSI shows here in the United States,
right.
Los Angeles. Been on there for a long time. That series just ended over 10 years. You know,
30 going on 16 in this.
But again, the characterizations of them, all of the Bat characters, we've got him, then we've got Batgirl played by, was it Alicia Silverstone?
Yes. Uma
Harley
Thurman.
Quinn, not Harley Quinn, sorry. What you call her? Who played Poison Ivy again?
Uma Thurman.
Massive actors of the time, you know, and then it went crashing down from the Tim Burton movies. I would have loved to have seen what Tim Burton would have done with you know, Two-Face and characters like that. Seeing how he did Penguin, you know, I think it could have been incredible. Okay, chaps, that is the end of our review of best and worst bits of the DCU. This has been really good fun. I enjoyed that. I haven't thought about what we'll do next, so whatever you want to do for the top threes, drop us some messages.
Got to do phase 2 of the MCU, haven't we?
I was thinking that. We did phase 1, but we ain't done phase 2, so we could perhaps do that. So we'll have a think and we'll get back to you on that. Just to quickly mention some shows that are coming up. We've got those first. Sorry, I forgot about those ones. Yeah, Ben, is that you in the pink outfit?
My sister will be coming for you now. And
that one. That's a nice one. Yeah, that's a nice little one. Happy birthday, Benjamin.
Thanks.
So yeah, tomorrow night I've got This Is My with Aaron from Empire Toys talking all things vintage action figures, Power Rangers, He-Man, Thundercats, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be at the earlier time of 7 o'clock. And that's because after that, we've got hopefully the Reviews with Rich show, where we're going to be looking at The Flash at 9 o'clock. So go and check that out over on
That's
Reviews
not tomorrow.
with Rich. I thought that was tomorrow. Is that not tomorrow?
Next week, I think he said.
Oh, next week. Right. Okay. So that's next week then. My apologies. And then on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, we've got This Is My with Shane from 1/6 Figure Focus, where we're going to be looking at all things 1/6 scale. So again, looking forward to that. That's your whack from my channel. What have we got coming up on your channel, James T. Keegan?
So I made a video about who I think Venom is in the new Spider-Man movie, and for some reason my computer doesn't want to put it on the internet. I think it's just too controversial. So I'm having technical difficulties. So I'm hoping to have that up late tonight or tomorrow.
Nice.
Good stuff. Look forward to that. Ben, what we got coming up on your channel?
Yeah, so I just posted a video of our family trip to Manchester Comic Con. So if you want to see some of the cosplayers and stalls and stuff, check that out. And then I'll be going live with James on Saturday evening to defend Spider-Man 3. Yeah, that's at 8 o'clock on Saturday night.
Wow, I'm loving that. Oh, wow, James, I'm loving that. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Efren, how about yourself? What's coming up on your channel?
Today, just like Ben, I posted a video. I went to the Hellfire Gala that was hosted by D23 at San Diego Comic Con. Obviously we took some pictures. I just did a quick video for it on YouTube, and I just posted it. I am going to be doing another episode of Comic Culture. This is my own live show that I do once a month with a couple of my friends here in the States. And I put out a short on YouTube, and then I put it on TikTok. I put it on Instagram, and I think I put it on Facebook, and I'm going to compare all 4 of them to see which one got the most views and talk about it a little bit. You know?
Oh, right. That would be really interesting.
You know, it's like I might do that.
Efren versus the algorithm.
Yeah. You know, which one gave me more views, and you'd be surprised what did it. And every quick note, timing is everything. You know, if I would have been right during Comic-Con, it would have gotten a lot more views on this one certain social media, you know, website. So.
That'll be really interesting to watch, Efren. So I've put stuff out, the same video, kind of short, on YouTube, Instagram, and what's the other one I use sometimes? TikTok. Yeah, TikTok. And you're right, it's startling the difference sometimes in some of them. So yeah, good stuff. Okay, guys, we'll call it a night then. James, can you dance what out? Can we have a little bit of Ben, you gonna join in? Ben? Yeah. Efren? Good stuff. Right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Bye.